I'm Ian MacDonald. There's my Twitter handle. If you want to tweet at me during the presentation or after, please feel free. Always willing to engage with questions on the subject. If you want to heckle me, please do it online rather than in person. That'd be helpful. And yes, you may notice I do have an accent. I am British, although confusingly, I'm here representing autoTRADER Canada. Patrina mentioned about the 3 different markets. It's actually my friend Nick King who'll be speaking to the UK market. But I am British, and I wanted to get that out of the way just because I'm trying to minimize the number of people that come up to me afterwards and ask me which part of Australia I'm from. Seem to get that a lot. This is my car. I am definitely British. I have the vanity plate to prove it. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Selling cars is a numbers game. Just thinking about some of the insights that Kevin just shared about why certain media is less effective than others, and I was thinking about this and taking a step back and analyzing it. Let's think about it as a numbers game. So there will be 4.8 million cars forecast to be bought in Canada in 2016. That's new cars, used cars, private to private, private buying from dealers. We're being generous, all those cars. There are only 24 million Canadian motorists. So we can quickly kind of work out that roughly Canadians are switching cars once every 5 years. So then if we take what Kevin showed us earlier, that the buying window is so short now, it's only 16 days now, and then we apply that, we can surmise that roughly at any given time, only 208,000 Canadians are in the market in that 16-day period at any given time. So meaning, if you were to go to Dundas Square this afternoon, you were to stop 100 people and ask them, hey, are you in the market for a car? Are you interested in buying a car? You only have a 0.8% odds of that person saying, yeah, sure, what have you got? Now let's be generous and round it up. Call it 1 in 100. And that explains this slide. That's why TV and radio and untargeted media like that, essentially that's the equivalent of what you're doing. You're hitting everybody and you're asking those 100 people, are you interested in a car? I'm selling cars. Are you interested in a car? And your odds are only 1 in 100 of that person being relevant. Where it comes to online, the targeting capability is so much more advanced that that's why that red line is so much higher, and it's much more effective for reaching in-market shoppers. But let's think for a moment that, okay, the reach isn't very efficient, but what if those channels are really influential? What if all those people listening to their radio are, those 4% that are in the market, are really influenced by the ads they hear on the radio, and they're just waiting to hear what the latest deal is from the dealer near them, and they're waiting for that ad that's going to get them to take some action and come and buy the car. Maybe those ads are really influential. Well, unfortunately, they're not. So not only that they're not very efficient at reaching in-market buyers, when they do reach in-market buyers, they're not very influential. I mean, Kevin spoke to how influential the online sources are becoming. Online is more influential than friends and family. People trust the internet more than they do their friends and family when it comes to what they should buy and where they should buy it. So it's not looking too good for kind of radio advertising and TV advertising at the business end of the buying process, because it doesn't really reach that many people, and those that it does reach aren't listening. So not a very strong combination. So you have 2 options. Let's think about reach again. You have 2 options to reach that 1 in 100 people. You could use outbound marketing strategy. You could use TV, radio, where you're just carpet bombing absolutely everybody. And you're going to hit that 1 person in 100 by virtue of the fact that you're hitting absolutely everybody. Outbound advertising is untargeted. You're interrupting everybody as they go about their day. And you're hoping that a few of them will listen, be influenced, and hear what you're saying. So it's things like untargeted TV buys, print media, it's radio, things like that. You're outbound, you're going interrupting people. You have no clue whether or not they're in the market for a car, but you hope they are. And contrast that with inbound. Inbound is where someone has already expressed they're somehow pre-qualified that they are interested in looking for the thing that you have to offer, for the things that you are selling. And then the inbound marketing strategy is to guide them towards you, what you're offering, but they're already pre-qualified. You know they're in the market in some shape or form. You're just guiding them towards you. You're not going out and interrupting random people with interruptive outbound media. Can you afford the media waste? Can you afford to carpet bomb absolutely everybody in the hopes of hitting this one guy that has his hand up? He's the guy that's in market. Or is it better to target your media dollars towards only trying to reach him with minimal wastage, with inbound strategies? Now, for some brands, outbound does work. I mean, you may think, I mean, maybe I'm being hypocritical, but autoTRADER.ca, you know, we buy TV, we buy some of this outbound stuff. But it depends on what stage you serve in the buying cycle, and it depends on a few factors. If you are a national brand, then yes, outbound mass media can be efficient on a national basis. If you can afford to have a frequency of 40, 50, 60 plus per year nationally, if you can afford to do that, then yes, outbound is good for building awareness and building efficiency over time. It becomes more efficient if you can do that. If you have a role to play at every single stage of the buying process, as autoTRADER does from the start to the end, it can become efficient. But if you are a car dealer, I would say that you really need to exhaust those inbound sources, exhaust the sources that find that one person first before you think about doing anything as inefficient as radio advertising or something like that. Think about when buyers need you, as I just said. If you're relevant throughout all these stages, then yeah, maybe you should consider outbound advertising. Maybe it could work for you. But I would say if you're a car dealer and really it's kind of the business end, it's contacting the dealer, finding the car, it's these things right at the end, in this 16-day, this really short window, that's when you need to be there. And like Kevin showed us, these days people are visiting fewer and fewer dealerships. They're only visiting 4 dealer websites on average. They're only visiting 2 dealers in person. You've got to be there 100% of the time when they're in that phase of the process. You've got to be there. Be there when they need you. So here's an analogy that's close to my heart as, again, as a Brit. British people are known for lining up and queuing for things and being polite, but when we're in bars, that doesn't apply. It's survival of the fittest. I can tell this is an English picture because of the notes they're using. But this essentially is an analogy for inbound sources. All these people in this bar, they know what they want, whiskey, beer, they know what they want. They've got their money in their hand, they're ready to buy. You need to guide them towards you, serve them, and give them what they want and take their money. They're there, they're queuing up, waiting for it. This is the same as people searching in Google for a 2012 Mazda 3 in Mississauga. They know what they want. You've just got to guide them towards you. When you don't exhaust your spend on Google and marketplaces and all these inbound sources and you buy a radio ad instead, you're the equivalent of this bartender ignoring these people, going outside the bar with a sandwich board on and a megaphone and saying, "It's happy hour, come into my bar." Why would you do that? They're all there, they're all lined up, they're already qualified. They just need to be guided towards you to convert. So here's some examples of inbound sources to give you the idea of what I'm talking about. Organic search and paid search, like I said, they're pre-qualified. What are the odds that someone searching for a 2013 Ford Mustang in Toronto is actually in the market to buy that car versus the 0.8% that we saw earlier? I would say it's very, very high. All you've got to do is try and guide them towards you. Marketplaces. By and large, the people that are on autoTRADER using the drop-downs to search for this make, this model, this year, they are by and large 99% of the time they're in the market to buy that car. They're pre-qualified. If you pay to list your cars in a marketplace and you pay for upsells and priority listings in that marketplace, there is minimal media wastage. Your ads will literally only appear when someone has selected that make, that model in that area for that price range that you wish to appear for. And then retargeting is another example. Everybody should be retargeting. I mentioned earlier about the 4 dealer websites only turns into 2 physical visits. Make sure you're one of the 2. If someone has visited your dealer website, ergo, they must be in the market for a car. The very, very high likelihood that they're in the market for a car. So you should be retargeting them and making sure that you're one of the 2 that they visit in person. Don't let somebody else steal your visitor. And again, zero media wastage. Your ads will literally only appear to people that have already been to your website. So hopefully you get this idea that, I mean, I could go on with those examples, but it's all about minimizing your media wastage. It's all about making the most effective use of your media dollars and making them work the hardest for a return on investment. So this is the litmus test. We've talked about kind of theory and influence and do you listen to radio ads and this kind of thing. But what about the actual litmus test? And here in the Keystone survey, we asked people who'd bought a car in the last 6 months, how did you find the dealer that you bought from in the end? This is reality. This isn't, oh, well, I intend to listen to radio. This is reality. And you can see here, 24% said, yeah, the dealer I bought from in the last 6 months, I found them through a search engine. Another 24% said, I found them through a marketplace. That's as strong as the past purchase. It's unbelievable. And then, you know, unfortunately, we have the radio ads and the print ads, I mean, coming with sort of 5 and 8%. This is reality. This is not reported behavior, it's actual behavior. And again, it underscores why you need to be exhausting and optimizing the spend that you have in search engines and marketplaces and inbound sources before you even think about doing radio advertising or something like that. So a couple more insights to share before I wrap up. One of the things that we ask people who are intending to buy in the next 6 months, are you looking for the dealership first, or do you think you're going to find the car first? A massive 79%, so 4 out of 5 said, I'm interested in the car. I know the car that I want, it's the inventory that's going to attract me. Now, don't get me wrong, your dealership is still important. Your dealer reviews are important. You still need to compete on that basis, but first things first, you've got to let them know and show them that you have the inventory that meets their need. You have the exact kind of car that they're looking for. That's what they're looking for first of all. If you have the right vehicles and you have the right cars, then yes, they'll compare you to other dealerships with similar cars, and that's when you have to sell yourself, but you have to sell the inventory first. Only 1 in 5 people would say, yeah, I like the dealership, it has good reviews, I like the sound of it, I found it on Google, I'll go there and I'll say, hey, I need a car, what have you got? Most people, the vast majority of people are saying, I want this kind of car, and I'll find someone that has it, and then I'll buy from them. So advertise the inventory first, then sell yourself. How far will buyers travel? This one was really interesting to me. So we're hearing a lot about how people will travel further and further in order to buy a car, and that's true, they will, as the internet kind of broadens people's reach of the cars that they can look at. But when we compared the distance traveled between the people who said, oh, I've actually bought a car in the last 6 months, and the people that said, I intend to buy a car in the next 6 months, it was quite interesting. So the buyers that intend to buy will browse widely. The people that haven't bought yet, they said, on average, their mean answer was, I'd travel 108 kilometers to buy my next car. That's how far I intend to travel. And when we compare that to the reality of people that have bought in the last 6 months, it was only 38 kilometers. So it's interesting. Although they intend to buy far and wide and they browse like that, it's actually still quite a localized kind of process. So my takeaway from this for you, from a sort of media optimization standpoint, is prioritize the more local traffic, because ultimately it will convert better. So just think about that when you're kind of geofencing your campaigns and things like that. So to summarize, offline media buys waste over 96% of your media dollars. Just think about that math again, like I was saying. It makes sense why it does. And when it does reach 4% of people, it's uninfluential on them. So it's kind of like a double threat for offline media. If you're a dealer, minimize your media wastage. That's the main thing I want you to take away, is to think about minimizing media wastage. Exhaust those inbound online sources, the highly qualified traffic. Exhaust those before you go ahead and think about more outbound interruptive styles of media. In the analogy, don't leave the bar. Don't leave all those customers waiting with their money ready to buy and go outside and try and bring more customers in. Serve them first. And then when you exhaust them, yeah, you can go outside and try and bring some more people into the bar. Avoid interrupting uninterested users and focus on being there 100% of the time. Same point as earlier. In search in marketplaces, this is where people are looking for cars and looking for dealerships. They're super qualified. Until you have 95% plus impression share on the keywords that are right for you, don't spend your money anywhere else. Use your inventory to attract those intenders and then sell yourself. Back to the point I made earlier about the number of people looking at the car versus thinking about the dealership first. And lastly, that users closer to you will convert better ultimately, so optimize your targeting in that way. So before I finish, just one thing I want to say to you is, these are my kind of thoughts, my reflections on some of the insights that the study that Kevin conducted kind of threw up. What I'm saying isn't gospel. It's you, it's your business. It doesn't apply to everybody. I mentioned earlier about outbound and inbound. Some of you come from dealer groups where you are trying to build a brand, and maybe outbound is kind of working for you to a degree. Some of you come from smaller dealerships where you should be focusing on inbound. It's up to you. It's your business, but I'm just giving you kind of my kind of thoughts around how I would think about some of these insights and how you can apply it to business, and just a way to think about your media planning. But as I say, ultimately, it's your business. You've got to do what's right and works for you. These are just my thoughts. So don't listen to anyone that ever tells you this is right, this is the way to do it. It's your call, it's your business. Thank you very much.